Hello, my name's Sam and today we're going to go through an acrylic beginner tutorial about blending colours. So you'll need a couple brushes, a selection of paints and some paper or canvas. The main brush I'm using today is a round number 16 brush. Alright, so the colours I've chosen is Brilliant Red, Blue Lake, Medium Yellow and Titanium White, and I'm also going to use a bit of Rose Madder to mix in with the red as well. So the colours I'm going to go for are a bit of a pastel look today. If you want to do different colours then just go for it, it's up to you, just whatever colours you want to do. So I'm going to put a bit of red, blue, yellow down, and then I'm going to mix in a bit of white with each. And I'm going to use some Rose Madder with the red just because I want more of a pastel pink colour for this one rather than red. So blending you use a lot really for backgrounds in your paintings. I use it for my landscapes. When I do a sky with lots of different colours, this is good because you can blend it all together so it all looks like one. It's just one of those basic techniques that you need to learn if you're thinking about doing a bit of painting. And it's also a bit of fun to muck around with as well, finding out what colours go with what. So I'm just mixing in the white with my colours that I've chosen just until I get the right colour that I want. If I want it a bit lighter, I'll just mix in a bit more white, a bit darker, a bit more colour. So you're welcome to use colours straight from the tube. I just like to mix mine up a bit so it looks a bit more unique, but that's completely up to you. Right, so I'm going to lay down my first colour. I'm just putting my brush in a bit of water just to loosen that acrylic paint up a little bit. It just helps it spread a bit easier as well. But just a little touch of water, you don't want too much or it'll be too thin. Unless that's the look you're going for, more of a watercolour look, then that is up to you. So I'm just using my number 16 round brush to spread this paint on thinly. And I'm just going over it a couple times just to try to get rid of those brush strokes as well. You'll see me every now and again, I'll grab a dry brush and I'll go over it, just it helps smooth it out a bit. Almost dropped the paintbrush there. So I'm laying down my blue next and I'm just leaving a bit of a gap in between my colours. This is going to give me some room to blend the colours together, which I'll do in a moment. So when I go to blend these two colours, what I'll be doing is taking a bit of the blue, mixing it in with that pink from before, and that'll give me kind of a little purpley-ish colour, and I'll put that in between the blue and the pink, and that'll just help my transition between the colours go nice and smooth. So here I am now, I'm just blending that pink in with the blue. Makes a bit of a purple. Now if you put down a colour it's not quite right, then the joy of painting is that you can just paint over it really. If you make a mistake, don't throw the bit of paper away, keep going, you can cover it up, or maybe it might even be one of those ones that turns out to be a good mistake. A happy little incident, as Bob Ross would say. Alright, so I'm just working that colour in between the pink and the blue, just mixing it in the middle there. The key with blending is you want to make it look like the colours just blend into each other. You can't really see where one colour starts and the next begins. It just all flows nicely together. Flows like a waterfall. There's me, I'm just using that dry brush just to go over. It just helps get rid of some of those brush strokes. But then brush strokes are a pretty good look, so if you don't want to do that, you want to keep your brush strokes, then go for it. The world is your oyster. So you can see me every now and again, I'm just dipping into that water just to get it a bit smoother, a bit of an easier consistency to work with. You don't want to get too much water on your brush though, because then it might start to take the water off that's on the canvas or on the paper, and you might end up with kind of little holes here and there. So just use it sparingly. Now usually I wipe my brush off just in between the colours, but especially with the yellow, because it's so much lighter, I actually put it in the water and give it a proper clean, because I don't want to bring those darker colours right down to the bottom. I just want to keep it nice and light down the bottom. So I'm laying my yellow in, and then mixing it with a bit of blue, And then I'll do the same as before. I'll mix a bit of the blue in with the yellow and it'll turn kind of greeny, obviously. And I'll keep working with that, going back and forth until they start to blend together nicely like those top colours have. It's all about patience painting. Patience, patience, patience. Go with the flow. So if you're a beginner to painting with acrylic or just painting altogether, then I'd suggest maybe just to do a few practice runs on bits of paper, just get a feel for the paint, a feel for how much water you need to add, work with a few different brushes, see what techniques you can get by pressing lightly or pressing hard, loading the brush up with lots of colour, with not much colour, and then jump into maybe some abstract painting is always a good thing to do as a beginner. And it just gives you that freedom. You're not confined in a box. You have to paint that. You can paint whatever you want. Alright, so down the bottom there I've just added a bit of yellow with the white, and I'm just blending that together as well, just so it ends nicely. So it's got a nice light transition. And then I'm just working my way up to the top, just doing another blend through everything. Top to bottom, because you're light to dark, and you don't want to bring that dark down to the light. Once you get to the bottom, clean your brush, and then if you need to come back down, do it then, but make sure you clean your brush. So here I'm just adjusting the colour. I just wasn't happy with that pink colour I had at the top. So I'm just changing it around until I get the kind of colours that I was looking for. More of a pastel colour. The other one was too dark for my liking. So basically at this point it's up to you how much further you blend. Obviously if you do it a bit more, you're going to get it blended more. If you leave it, it's kind of separated a bit. The more you work with it, the more blended it'll be. The only thing with acrylic paint, it does dry quite fast, so if you are blending, you need to finish that blending and get it to the stage you want before you stop working for that day, or you stop working on that piece, because you won't be able to blend those paints together once they're dry. But you could always paint over them, so it's not the end of the world if you do that. So here I'm just messing around with that, adding a bit of white here and there to make a few bits lighter, adding more colour to make a few bits darker. But as I said, it's up to you when you choose to stop, when you think it is complete. So that's pretty much for this video. If you did like it, then please hit like and subscribe to see more. I'm going to do a couple of these videos a week, just on beginner techniques at the moment. And I'm do a few time-lapse videos on the side of my own paintings as well. So if you've watched this far, thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something. Leave a comment below if you like. And hopefully you'll be watching me again soon. Thank you.